I never imagined I'd be sharing this tale, but life's got a way of throwing curveballs. My name's Michael, and I'm a middle school science teacher. Back in the summer of 2022, my wife Sarah and I packed up our lives and moved to Oak Ridge Meadows, a picture-perfect suburb in upstate New York. You know, the drill-neat lawns, friendly waves from porches, the kind of place where you figure nothing exciting ever happens. Sarah had just stepped away from her high-pressure job as a legal advisor, always knee-deep in research for those thriller books she was penning on the side. I was over the moon. She'd been burning the candle at both ends for ages, juggling late-night calls and endless paperwork. Now, she could finally unwind, maybe finish that novel she'd been tinkering with. The moving van hadn't even cleared out when our neighbor Karen showed up, tray of fresh-baked oatmeal cookies in hand, beaming like she'd won the lottery. "Welcome to the block," she sang, her perfectly styled auburn hair catching the sunlight. Karen was in her late 40s, the epitome of suburban polish, and she chatted us up like old pals. She rattled off tips on recycling schedules, the top pizza joints nearby, and even which plumber wouldn't rip you off. The cookies were killer, and I thought, man, we've hit the jackpot with neighbors. But then the questions started rolling in, innocent at first. Where'd we hail from? What drew us here? Sarah mentioned her freelance gig digging into case studies for her mystery novels, and I talked about teaching kids about volcanoes and ecosystems. Karen's eyes sparkled. Legal research for thrillers? That sounds thrilling. What sorts of crimes do you dive into? Any specialties? Sarah kept it light, saying she focused on real-world authenticity for her plots. Yet Karen pressed on, circling back like she was piecing together a puzzle. She also dropped these bombshells about other folks on the street. The family 4 doors down was drowning in student loans. The retirees opposite had switched health plans twice in a year. She knew their mortgage rates, their kids' college app stuff that felt way too personal. When I asked how she stayed so looped in, she just chuckled. "I like to keep tabs. Helps me lend a hand where it's needed." Sarah went stone silent during that part, her gaze sharpening like a blade. After Karen bounced, I asked Sarah's take. She stared out at Karen's house for a beat. "She's meticulous," she said, her voice measured. "That questioning style? It's not chit-chat. It's intel collection." I brushed it off. Sarah's job had made her wary of motives, but deep down, her words lingered. Karen kept popping by with excuses, more treats, offers to tour the area, suggestions for jog routes. Every talk veered back to our jobs, finances, schedules. What hours did Sarah write? Did I have job security? Planning any big buys? Sarah's answers grew vaguer, but Karen was relentless. "Just want to point you to resources for folks in your spot," she'd say sweetly. What spot was that? Then came the warnings about troublesome neighbors who'd exploit newcomers like us. "Jealous types stir up drama," she'd whisper, touching Sarah's arm. "But I've got your back." It all felt off, like we were navigating a minefield disguised as small talk. The red flag waved when I spotted Karen snapping pics of our place from her driveway, phone angled slyly while checking mail. She waved when she caught me staring. "Updating HOA files, your home's stunning." That evening, Sarah sat me down, her face grave. "Michael, Karen's not just nosy. Her info gathering, the leverage building, its surveillance tactics." I wanted to argue, but Sarah's instincts screamed truth. Next day, Karen delivered a mandatory HOA orientation invite. "To ensure you blend in seamlessly," she said, her warmth dialed back to business mode. Sarah accepted politely, but once alone, her eyes turned steely. "Trust me, no matter what unfolds, know I'm safeguarding us." Her words chilled me. What had we stumbled into? The meeting at Karen's was like a corporate seminar. Rows of chairs, a dozen neighbors, stacks of forms. Karen introduced us Michael and Sarah Thompson with a weird emphasis on our surname, like it meant something. She described Sarah's crime research as if it were shady. Then she launched into HOA rules, spouting bogus legal claims, unlimited entry rights, arbitrary fines. She'd pause, eyeing Sarah expectantly. Sarah corrected her each time, tense but precise. "Actually, that's unconstitutional without notice." She'd deflect. "Just stuff from my book research." But Karen lit up, probing deeper with invented disputes, fences, noise, landscaping. Sarah's responses revealed sharp legal acumen, and I saw Karen cataloging it all. Post-meeting, I confronted Sarah. "That was courtroom-level stuff. What's really going on?" She met my gaze. How much do you trust me, Michael? Because you'll need to, even if things get murky. Karen amped up the pressure. Phony citations for overgrown hedges. They weren't. Non-compliant fence paint. Sarah dismantled each with laser-focused rebuttals, citing bylaws she'd somehow pre-researched. She built a dossier lines, photos, notes like a pro-detective. Where'd you learn this? I demanded. Sarah hesitated. My consulting. It involved hands-on cases. I've faced types like Karen before. Her digging uncovered Karen's pattern, targeting high-value homes, driving out owners for quick, cheap sales that boosted her property's worth. Plus, Karen claimed disability benefits for a debilitating knee injury. Yet Sarah snapped pics of her hauling heavy planters while patrolling. This is fraud, Michael. And we're in her crosshairs. One night, Sarah's question floored me. How well do you really know me? Her look hinted at buried secrets, and I lay awake, heart pounding, wondering what shadows lurked in our marriage. Morning light revealed Sarah at the table, files everywhere, charts, records, cop-like shorthand. Sit, she said, voice commanding. I wasn't just an advisor. For 15 years, I was a federal prosecutor tackling racketeering and financial scams. My jaw dropped. It explained everything. Her precision, her foresight. I quit for peace, but Karen's playbook matches cases I built. She's scamming insurance while terrorizing folks for profit. She showed mismatches. Karen's claims versus her active enforcement. Sales data linked her harassment to undervalued flips. Karen retaliated with dawn raids and midnight knock sprinkler floods. Phantom pet noise. We had no pets. Sarah predicted them, recording everything, countering flawlessly. At a compliance forum, Karen bashed HOA powers falsely. Sarah rose, eviscerating her with statutes and precedents. The room hushed. Neighbors shifted uncomfortably. Karen cornered Sarah later. Quite the legal whiz for a novelist. Any law enforcement ties? Sarah smiled coldly. Extensive research. But your fraud patterns? They scream charges. Karen blanched. Sarah confided fully. Her career busting crime rings, her burnout. Karen's intel gathering mirrored mob tactics. Enter DR. Emily Hayes, the local GP down the block, who seemed worried about Karen's antics. Her claims don't add up, Emily said, reviewing Sarah's files. They swapped notes, uncovering broader fraud. But Emily was a snake, leaking to Karen while feigning alliance. Sarah's case grew. Karen tied to an interstate scam ring, faking disabilities for payouts, using HOA clout to silence threats. Federal whispers from Sarah's old contacts stirred Karen into frenzy stalking, glaring for hours. She's gearing up for something big, Sarah warned. Emily fed intel both ways, priming Karen on Sarah's routines. Sarah gardened Thursdays at 10 a.m., shears in hand. One crisp fall morning, Karen paced her yard, phone out, ranting. She's probing my life, building dirt. I won't let her ruin me. Peering out, I saw Sarah clipping lilacs peacefully. But Karen dialed 911. Help. Neighbors brandishing a gun, threatening folks. Black, waving wildly hurry. Sirens wailed. Sarah set down her shears calmly. I anticipated this. Cops arrived, expecting danger, found a gardener. Sarah explained coolly, retired prosecutor here. That's a false report felony territory. She showed her dossier. Officers nodded, turning to Karen's door. Karen's cuffing was swift. She babbled excuses, but body cam sealed it. As she vanished into the cruiser, Sarah dialed. It's go time. FBI vans rolled in. Agent Ramirez, Sarah's ex-partner, coordinated. Sarah's been tipping us on this ring for months. Raids hit Karen's and Emily's home's fake docs, stolen millions. Media swarmed. Neighbors confessed Karen's terror. Her haul, $500,000 in bogus benefits, $300,000 in property gains. Emily's arrests exposed her as the fraud doc hub. Sentences crushed. Karen got 20 years federal, assets seized, family shattered, divorce, kids disowning. Emily, 12 years, license yanked. Our hood bloomed, values soared 30%, realtors touted, prosecutor protected. Sarah consulted nationwide, busting 30 rings. Our bond deepened. I saw her sacrifices anew. But was Sarah's secrecy justified, or a betrayal? Did Karen deserve total ruin, or was it overkill? What if you'd uncovered a neighbor's scam report quietly or go nuclear? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if justice thrills you, and subscribe for more real-life twists.